Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing okay today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Shout out to all the subscribers. As always, gratitude to anybody new. Welcome along. This video we're going to be talking about the keys to victory, right? What are some of the things that Alberto Puello can do to avoid Surreal Matias's onslaught?
How about that?
That's a yeah.
How about that? Yeah, you can.
Just like Steve. We agree, Steve.
He's not using it to get out of the fight.
What are some of the things that Matias can do to, you know, get a little bit closer to Puello to do the damage?
But a much better round for Surreal Matias, as he's been the aggressor, although Hawkins coming back with a combination at the end of the round.
Some of the mental tactics I'm going to talk about, some of the psychology from, you know, like cutting the ring off and stuff like that. We're going to get quite deep into that. I'm just going to ramble. We're going to talk a bit of science as well, a little bit of art towards the end, but really and truly I'm just going to have a little ramble about the keys to victory for both fighters.
Boxing.
So before I start, I'll leave timestamps for the actual start of the keys to victory video, because I just wanted to say a massive thank you to anybody that's been watching any of my videos or has watched any of my videos, and you know, just a massive gratitude to people that keep stopping by and liking the videos, commenting. You know, I really do appreciate it massively. And you know, I'm making videos more because, you know, I like making videos like this, especially when people respond well to them. So I just wanted to say a big thank you. If you've taken time out of your day to watch one of my videos, you know, I couldn't be more grateful. Excuse me. Anyway, let's get on to the actual keys to victory. I'm sure not everybody wants to hear me ramble on about that. So let's start off with Alberto Puello, right? I did a little keys to victory short video yesterday. It's a different video because I just wanted to give a little taster and give myself an idea about what I was going to talk about today. But Alberto Puello, he's a really good boxer, all right? He's a very good boxer.
Very much about focusing on maintaining the distance, Abner, using that jab effectively, and really good with the counters tonight as well.
Oh, really good play. There it is.
He's a very good boxer because he's very disciplined, right? He sticks to his boxing usually. I was watching an Akhmedov fight earlier and he got caught up in a bit more
landing. Of course, some are getting blocked, but especially in the latter part of that round, he just kept pounding away downstairs.
You know, inside action, and I think that he should have.
Puello really sit on the shot, looking for the big shots. I mean, he's not going to miss Akhmedov coming in with that uppercut.
Really. He looked a bit, you know, like he was faltering a little bit in time for, you know, a few parts of that fight. You know, he didn't look like he really should have been there against Gary-Antoine Russell. Perhaps it was because Russell's, you know, different approach. He looked a bit more hesitant. You know, Akhmedov was just straight coming in, and that's what Matias should do. But for Puello, he's got to control the range better than he did against Akhmedov. More so like he did it against Gary-Antoine Russell. What does controlling the range means? Keeping your distance, you know, using your footwork, sometimes using a jab, using your check hook, just to keep that distance. So when Matias starts to walk in, he's got to match him with that, because Matias is going to come in, I think he's going to come in pretty possessed. I said that in my short video. I've been saying it in the video I did with Cuba. Shout out to you, bro. I'll leave the link to all these videos that I've done. We was in the gym and with Johan Guzman as well. Shout out to him. Thank you to anybody who watched those videos. But you know, he's got to come in possessed, Matias, and I think he's going to be pretty close to it, and we'll get onto it in a minute. How close can he get to, you know, that version where he was against Hawkins, Dukembaia, Ponce, even Ergashev, you know, that version of Matias? If he gets close to that version, my gosh, frightening. That's a frightening man.
But a much better round for Surreal Matias, as he's been the aggressor, although Hawkins coming back with a combination at the end of the round.
Question is, how close can he get to it? Because I think he's going to be pretty close based on what I've been looking at and just how he seems in training camp. But if you look at the Goyage. I'll give you a couple of clips later where, you know, he just did this burst of athleticism, and I was like, okay, he's got a little spring in his step still, do you know what I mean? But yeah, keys to victory, as I said, this is going to be a ramble, so Puello, keep his range, keep the distance as much as he can. Now, another key to victory, and this is going to be for both guys, right? When that action does get close, Puello is going to look to duck under and, you know, smother him basically to shut Matias down.
This round,
and that is where Matias is he's got to stop him from doing that, shove an arm into his neck. You know, if you look at the Ponce one, I've talked about this before. Ponce, not a very cute fighter though, like Puello. You know, when he went to grab him, Matias just stopped him like that.
Test upon suggestion of the corner. He is the winner by way of technical knockout. He is the new IBF Junior Welterweight Champion of the World.
Ergashev did the same thing. I made a video about the clinches, long video, about how, you know, he stops guys from doing that. He didn't really do it against Paro. And so when Puello gets on the ropes and, you know, there's a time to tee off on him, or there's that danger time, and, you know, Puello's going to try to smother him a little bit and shut him down and then push him back.
How about that?
That's a, yeah.
How about that?
yeah, you
Again,
can,
just like Steve, we agree, Steve.
He's not using it to get out of the fight. So
Alan Hawkins.
Pushes him back. So this is where Subriel gets and the speed before they start unleashing their own power.
That's what Paro was doing, right? And when you push somebody back, you're breaking their base. So, you know, but Matias was letting Paro push him back. He just didn't have that ferocity or that fire.
To create some space. Okay, stop.
You know, you got to understand that that's going to come. You got to stop him from doing it. Keep your base and then maybe get your shots off whilst it's happening. Because if Puello can do that successfully and he can just stick a move and get on the ropes, and anytime Matias comes in and Puello just ducks down to, you know, shut him down, it's gonna be hard to get to Puello. But he's got to stop him from doing that. He's got to understand that he's going to be ready. Sorry, let me move my camera a little bit. It's all the way over to the side. He's got to be ready and understand that he's going to do that, and there's got to be something to combat it, you know, which is where the fighting in the clinches comes in. I want to see that ferocity, and in fact, Matias, talking about ferocity, I don't want to see him touching gloves.
As we kick things off here at the Fight Sphere at the end of the round.
I know some people might not realize just how important that can be to just stay on your possessed energy, right? Don't shake hands at all. Don't touch their gloves in between the gloves. Stay focused like you want to stop this dude, right? It's a mental thing. You got to keep applying that psychology, you know, that mental pressure. And, you know, I don't want to see Matias touch his gloves and getting pushed back when Puello's just walk. If Puello starts clinching him and walking him back and he's breaking his base and he's like, you know. I don't think he will, by the way, but he's got to just maintain that fierceness, Matias, right? Now, I talked about some of his plyometrics training and how that might affect his entry points and this burst of speed. We don't know how much or how close to that clip that I'll show you from the Hawkins fight, where he can move in like that and just spring up and do that.
And they are very close in terms of the power punches landed.
yeah, that's and of course the power punch last fight with Darwin Price. So
Yeah, that's right. Our own Steve Farland had Hawkins trailing.
Can he do that today? Maybe. Let me show you this little clip in the Goyage fight, which I might have already showed you, but you know, he just springs around like that, and he had this little burst and threw a little jab out. I think he's still got some real fierce athleticism in there, I really do. And as I said, I think he's ready for a resurgence. I think he needed to get that power loss out. I think he went through a hell of a lot of rough period with the, you know, just the hard fights, getting hurt in the Jukembai fight, although someone disputed that. That's fine, that's up to you. It looked like he was hurt to me. That was still a tough fight. Taking some big shots from Ponce and Ergashev, training camps, all this stuff, you know what I mean? And it was just a lot. And, you know, he seems, you know, spiritually more healthy, you know? Even though at the time, again, the power fight, I looked at him, I was like, he looks ready, man. Do you know what I mean? But if you actually look really a bit closer, obviously hindsight's 20/20, but if you look now, you think maybe he did look a bit drawn, maybe he did look a little bit exhausted. His eyes were a little like, you know, a bit too glowy kind of thing, and he looks happy. Do you know what I mean? Right now, I think he looks happy, he looks calm, and you know, looks scary as well, because that scary Matias that comes out the gates like a bull. I mean, you know, sometimes he takes his time with the pressure. I think he's got to be on him and don't let him breathe. Do you know what I mean? Don't let this dude breathe, because the more that you're on him, the more anxiety that brings out of fighters, which actually feeds Matias, right? As a pressure fighter, they feed off of that. You know what I mean? They do. I think they do. I made a video called The Spider's Web, where it's like, you know, he's just a poisonous spider, and they're just like this insect that's basically stuck in a web. And it's just a matter of time before they just succumb to the violence, basically. But yeah, so Matias, use his athleticism in spots, right, and creativity. This is actually something I spoke about in the little short video, and I'll elaborate now, because I've been talking about it, and this is one of the reasons why when you look at Matias, if you don't see him doing this stuff and it's tucked in there, he doesn't do it all the time, you might think, oh, he doesn't have that much skill and he's a bit crude. I get that, you know, his footwork does come across a bit cumbersome sometimes, but when he really wants to, he can really turn on some really nice, fast, athletic footwork, mix it in with creativity. Or creativity, like, you know, if he's gonna feint the right hand like that and boom, coming with the left hand, it sounds like that's not part of his game, but actually he can do it, and I'll show you clips. And he'll just shoot a shot like boom, like that, to Gaiage's face, which is a very unorthodox way of punching. He's going like this, like springing your fist forward. It's really hard. He just shot Gaiage bang in the face, and he can do that. He can against Hawkins, where he's just chasing him down, moving his head, and then boom, come up like that. He's very capable of doing stuff like this. He really is. I think he's got to be mentally in the right place, you know, and just perform it at the end of the day, because a lot of these performances, I said in the video, a lot of it is called motor unit recruitment, right, where it's a mental part of you athletically being fast. Speed is like, you know, the motor unit recruitment. It's a very high-tech matrix stuff, you know what I mean? If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the scientific video. I'll go into a little bit more detail, and I've been trying to study it myself, because it is quite deep and I don't fully understand it. But he's got to mentally summon muscle fibers to make these moves, right? So crazy. It's like, I've got to get these fibers, man. You know, then type 2X they're called, the ones that we really do the bursts, you know. And Matias isn't like a twitchy fighter like that, but he can do moves. It can drain you a little bit more, right? Because you're trying to get the certain types of fibers. Absolutely fascinating. But moments like that, if he's having trouble to try to like break through the matrix, you know, because Puello's got very long. They're both. Let me pull the tail of the tape up actually, and I'll show you. You know, the length is actually the same. You know, Matias is very long as well. He's deceptively long. Puello's gangly and he looks long like that because, you know, but Matias is, and I've told you that he looks like a sprinter or a long jumper or something. The way he's kind of thin. You know what I mean? He's got these long calves, but it is make for like a kind of an intriguing fight, how they're gonna battle each other with it. And that jab too, Matias's jab, even come in, because it's not just like because he's so heavy-handed, right? And he catches guys off. He's got to get creative with it a little bit, because Puello's gonna see a lot of the movement if he just keeps it basic and just walking in. He's got to walk in with the ferocity, maybe a little bit of head movement, which he can do. This is the thing, you know. People have said about walking in with his hands down. Let me talk about cutting the ring off actually really quickly, because there's a psychological major part of that which will be a part of this fight. I think Matias is good at cutting the ring off, and then he's not so good, and I'll explain. Right, when I say he's not so good at it, he's being not so good at it while being good at it, because when you're following your opponent around, right, which is, not something you really want to do. You want to make the ring feel smaller by anticipating where your opponent's going, right? And you want to match where they're going, okay? So that you're cutting the ring off essentially and making it feel smaller, guiding them into a part of the area, maybe the corner, where you can, you know, close the distance. But if you're following somebody around, that's not cutting the ring off. But if you're look how fiercely he was following Hawkins around, right, with his hands down, looking at him like a demon. That's still an element of cutting the ring off, I think, because you're creating psychological pressure. Like you are on them the whole time like that. And you look at Hawkins' face, he was terrified. I'm not surprised. It's a terrifying dude, you know what I mean? But so if he can do that, but just not as reckless as following him around, just, you know, if he's gonna do the hands down thing and he's gonna be like, you're not gonna hurt me, that can actually take more out of Puello. If you have someone walking you down like that, and it makes you want to hit them a bit harder, right? He's gonna be like launching these massive shots, I think. Or Puello's very good at combinations, so he's got that beautiful left uppercut, right hook, or whatever it is he'll put together, like bam, bam.
When you're fighting a right-hander,
That's the distance. It can be used again. Puello went off the last shot.
And that can be more draining, even if he lands a shot, because obviously Matias has got a pretty damn good chin. How good is his chin compared to when it was against, you know, Ponce and Ergashev? I don't know if it's as good as that, because Ramirez hurt him in the first minute.
Matias has begun. Might be in a little bit of trouble. He was buzzed by that one.
But that could have just been a, you know, it wasn't quite, he was a bit cold or whatever, but I don't think he was as hurt as the commentators were making out, but he still got buzzed. So his chin is probably still good, but I don't think Puello can, you know, really hurt Matias, at least not to the respectable point to stop him from walking you down, you know, and that's going to take more out of Puello. Not just the anxiety of having that dude on you, but launching off massive shots to get him off you is going to drain Puello as well. So I think another key to victory, Puello's got to manage his combinations and manage those the power that he puts in to try to keep Matias off him. Because if his energy bar, you know, is going to go down and down and down, and as I said, Matias is going to feed off of that. I might have forgot one or two things. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about any keys to victory you think, because there is quite a lot of fascination about this fight, because, you know, some people do think that Puello is just such a superior boxer, which he is, you know, but how much is he? You know, the Akhmedov fight I watched and I was like, if he fought Matias that night, Matias would have stopped him for sure. But he also fought Gary Hunter and Russell much better, but Russell didn't put the same pressure on. So I'm like, if he's fighting you know, an elite pressure fighter that really knows and just walks you down, because Russell was a little hesitant at times, and he made it, in my opinion. And some people still, there's a small portion that think Russell won. Personally, I'm not one of them. I thought that was you know, Puello was landing the cleaner shots, controlling the fight mostly. In my opinion, it was. I'm not saying it was a wide, you know, it's probably a fair result, 7-5, I think, something like that. I know there was some. I think there was another judge that scored it really wide, but I thought Puello won. You know, I thought he did. But you know, if he does box like that, it's going to be a bit more tricky if he sticks to his game plan. But then again, Matias, if he shuts that distance with that, you know, like energy, with his fast feet, you know, if he is in the best shape that he's been in a very long time, it's going to be a very long night for Puello. But if Matias does get a little lax in there and doesn't apply as much pressure as I'd like him to, Puello could pick him off, especially early. You know what I mean? 5 or 6 rounds, I'm thinking Puello's probably going to have, you know, a slight lead and be outboxing him. And then just slowly but surely, when those small exchanges do happen, or Matias is successful with those shots where they don't see them coming. You know what I mean? Fighters don't see them coming because they're so unorthodox and the cadence and the rhythm is different. I've spoken about this loads of times. That's why they get caught like that. And the heavy hands. He's got heavy hands. And heavy hands means like there's just something in the physicality of somebody's fist, not explosive power. Because Matias has said that he's not the biggest puncher. It's the grind you down. But his hands are heavy. It's like BE.YOUR.BEST, you know. BE.YOUR.BEST, when he touches you like that, his hands are so solid that they just move guys. But when you don't see it from Matias, that's why he staggers guys back. And then if he catches you clean, you know, he can obviously really hurt you. But yeah, that's it. I think, you know, maybe I missed one or two things, but great fight. You know, I really do think this is going to be a really good fight, very intriguing, and it could really come down to who wants it more at the end and who's got the bigger balls, you know what I mean? And I'm backing Matias for that all day long. You know, he just got, if he does get a little bit outboxed early on, he got to stick with the program, keep applying that pressure and keep chipping away. Don't you know, lose focus. Stay that psychological grind. Don't touch his gloves, and you know what I mean? Don't do that. Just go in there and look at him like a demon, and he should be able to get the stoppage. I'm thinking 10 or 11. It's going to break him down. Round 10 or 11, he'll get the stoppage. TKO, Surreal Matias. Now, I was going to touch on a bit of art. Maybe this is quite a long video. I've been making quite a few videos, and they do take quite a bit of time, which is part of the channel, you know what I mean? But if I have time, I'll do a little like the Murga track, right? Maybe I'll just play at the end with like a freestyle keyboard session at the end, because I always like to bring in music, and I'm going to bring in a lot more music as the channel grows, because it's something that I love to do. I love talking about music. I love talking about boxing. I love all types of music, really. But you know, whatever the fight is, I can cater it to that, you know, whilst being true to myself. So, you know what I mean, that's the thing I'll say there, is like, you're gonna get a lot of different styles of music, but it's always gonna come from the heart. And science today, maybe I'll save that for Sunday, because I'll definitely do a post-fight review Sunday, and I've got some music thing planned. I don't want to give it away because Matias has got to win for me to do the performance, I guess, you know what I mean, or the intro. I've really got something quite special lined up, but you know, Matias has got to get the W for that. And yeah, I hope you guys are well. I hope you enjoyed the fight, and you know, have a lovely weekend. It's Thursday today. I'm going to do my best to get it out tonight. I'm going to the gym now, and then I'm going to I'll be back this evening. I should be able to get it out tonight. It should be fine, because I like to dress it up and bring in all the clips of what I'm talking about, so you guys can see. It's part of the channel. And as I said, if you made it this far, much love to you. Thank you very much. I mean, I can't tell you how grateful I am. And I hope you guys get to enjoy the fight, whether you're going, whether you're watching live. You know, let me know in the comments, and smash the like button. But it's got to come from here every single time. Do you know what I mean? That's it from me. Peace, love, boxing on the edge. Have a good week.
Boxing.
On it.